At SummerSlam 2007, Umaga defeated Mr. Kennedy and Carlito in a triple threat match while retaining his WWE Intercontinental Championship. The match was second on the card, it had some pretty decent spots, it was a pretty standard match that in the end wasn't really all that remarkable. This match though originally wasn't supposed to happen. Umaga was supposed to get featured in a chaotic handicap match where the Samoan Bulldozer would take on the cast of Jackass, Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O, Wee Man, Ryan Dunn, all those guys. Posters were made up for the match, promos were even recorded for the match, but the Jackass boys did not appear at SummerSlam 2007 and the featured match ended up getting cancelled. Let's take a look at the relationship between WWE and Jackass while looking into why this match got called off, and we'll also look at the other times the Jackass crew got involved with World Wrestling Entertainment. Back in the early 2000s, Jackass was more than just popular, it was a cultural phenomenon. Created by Big Brother magazine editor Jeff Tremaine, his friend Spike Jones, and struggling actor at the time Johnny Knoxville, the MTV show became huge among the young male demographic thanks to its outrageous stunts, ridiculous pranks, and a cast of characters who would seemingly do anything for the sake of entertainment. Through the original Jackass series, a whole world of alternative entertainment opened up for viewers who wanted to go beyond the MTV show. For example, Bam Margera's CKY videos, clips of which were used in season 1 of Jackass, became even more popular than what they were before, and original copies of the CKY tapes became sought after items. Skate culture itself also got a significant boost, very similar to the one it got when the Tony Hawk games got released. There were Jackass spin-off shows, live shows, music videos, feature-length movies, video games. Jackass became a huge worldwide success, and it's kind of funny when you think about the premise of the whole thing, you know? I, like everyone else, really enjoyed the franchise, and I too was one of those people who picked up the CKY reissues and bought the movies when they got released on DVD. Jackass was one of those things you could watch over and over again and it would still be funny. And while the magic of the original MTV shows may be gone, there's still a lot of nostalgia at work when I watch the old stuff. A lot of what made Jackass so endearing were the characters, these absolute lunatics who would put themselves in funny, painful and awkward situations for the sake of a few laughs. And everyone had their favourite Jackass, just like most people would have a favourite pro wrestler. Two of the more popular guys in the Jackass crew were Chris Pontius, also known as Party Boy, and Steve-O, a former clown who was rarely seen sober back in those early days. Pontius and Steve-O would get involved with WWE before the planned SummerSlam 2007 encounter got cancelled, and, well, it didn't work out too well. Reportedly, it was Shane McMahon who was big on Jackass, and it was Shane who got Steve-O and Pontius to attend Raw on October 16th, 2006. The second Jackass movie was due for release the following month, so it was a win-win for everyone involved, right? Or at least it should have been. The movie gets a little promotion, while the WWE get two self-proclaimed idiots on their television show for a little fun. The boys said they were not originally supposed to wrestle or do anything that could potentially get them hurt. Vince McMahon met Steve-O and Pontius backstage though, and Vince thought it would be a real missed opportunity if these two didn't get in the ring and do something physical. It didn't matter that Steve-O looked wasted, it didn't matter that neither Pontius nor Steve-O were trained to wrestle. Vince knew these guys took a lot of punishment on their TV show, so it would be a waste if they didn't do something on Monday Night Raw. To be fair, Vince had a point. You do want to see these guys take bumps because they took plenty of bumps on the Jackass TV show and in their movies, but needless to say, there's a very big difference when taking falls in a controlled area like a wrestling ring versus doing so out on the street while your buddies record you. More on that in a moment though. Steve-O can't even get in the ring properly, but let's not worry about that too much. Steve-O says he and Pontius are here to do two things tonight: kick some ass and whoop some butt. Pontius says someone's going to hell early tonight, while Todd Grisham tells the boys that someone dropped their ladder while getting in the ring. Just as Steve-O and Chris are about to tell us who their favourite wrestlers are, they get interrupted by Armando Alejandro Estrada, and Estrada thinks these two guys are phonies. He says these two are just merely actors and they just tell everyone that they're afraid of nothing. Steve-O confirms that he and Pontius would do anything. He gives Estrada a little shove, and gotta say, it was going pretty well up until this point. Steve-O's definitely on a different planet, but he's doing alright on the microphone. If Chris and Steve-O are so brave and if they will indeed do anything, then Estrada wants these boys to meet the Samoan bulldozer. Umaga makes his way down to the ring and already the boys are having fun here by doing a few push-ups. When Umaga steps inside the ropes, Steve-O starts hot dogging and yes, the crowd do pop even though it's a little out of place. Both jackasses are having fun here and the audience are having fun too, but the fun and games are about to stop as Pontius launches his friend into Umaga and Steve-O gets slammed hard on the mat. Pontius then takes a clothesline and already you can see him smile while on the mat, and this right here was the problem. These two couldn't stop laughing at what was going on and Umaga took it personally. Steve-O gets kicked in the chest while Pontius takes a Samoan drop. Umaga's music plays and he goes to leave the ring, but he then notices Steve-O laughing at Chris and this just makes Umaga mad. Keep in mind, this part was scripted, but Steve-O couldn't stop laughing after the next piece of offense. The big man gets in the ring again, Steve-O takes a hard kick on the back followed by a knife-edge chop, and Umaga then performs a splash before his music plays once again. Now, that's supposed to be it all over, but Steve-O can't help himself. He begins laughing again, and Umaga decides to really kick him. He drops a forearm on Steve-O, and Steve-O said he blacked out after this. And Steve-O also gets picked up like a rag doll and dropped on the canvas as Umaga continues his attack. Steve-O continues to laugh, and the production guys decide to quickly cut the live feed and show a replay. There's two ways of looking at this. First, it's the die-hard pro wrestling way. You can argue that Steve-O and Pontius should have known better and they were stupid not to sell Umaga's offense. The second way of looking at it, and the way I see it, Steve-O and Pontius weren't informed well enough backstage that they had to sell and they weren't smartened up to pro wrestling etiquette. These guys have a natural reaction to laugh when they're in pain, and if you watch Jackass at all, you'd know that all these guys do is laugh at each other's pain and misery. So yeah, in my opinion, the WWE or anyone else can't get mad at this really. That's what happens when you put two jackasses inside a wrestling ring. Steve-O said this in an interview. I just remember walking through what the match was going to look like. You agree to a sort of outline, like bullet points of what moves are going to be, and you walk through it. Then I remember when the show was live and it was actually happening, it was such a widely different experience. I felt like he was just hitting me so hard, and then the last move that we discussed happens and it's supposed to be over, but he's still hitting me. I didn't know that he was hitting me because I wasn't playing dead, and I didn't know I was supposed to play dead. So yeah, that was crazy, man. I actually don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember leaving the ring at all. Steve-O has two excellent YouTube channels, his original channel and another dedicated to his podcast. On the original channel, he and Pontius watched this match back and Steve-O admitted to, and I quote, being heinously on drugs when this confrontation took place. He also said he felt like he was born to be a wrestler once he performed that backflip. Pontius said he woke up that night and he couldn't breathe due to the Samoan drop, and Steve-O explained that he didn't know he was supposed to lie still after taking the top rope splash. Because Steve-O wouldn't stop moving, Umaga felt like he had to keep attacking him, and this means it really could have gone on forever. Pontius said Vince McMahon was absolutely delighted with how things turned out, but he also said the importance of staying down on the mat could have been stressed a little more. Even though things didn't go as planned, WWE wanted to do business with Jackass once again, and so plans were put in place for Pontius, Steve-O, and more of the Jackass crew to return to WWE for a pay-per-view match. If we look at the SummerSlam 2007 poster that got scrapped, we can see who could have potentially took part in this match. From left to right, we've got Dave England, Ryan Dunn, Steve-O, Johnny Knoxville, Preston Lacey, Danger Aaron, and Wee Man. And correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but this would have also been the most one-sided handicap match the WWE ever put on pay-per-view if it would have taken place. There was a handicap match where John Cena and Randy Orton took on 17 members of the Raw roster, but in terms of pay-per-view, I think this scrap SummerSlam match would have set a new record. The USA Network were airing Steve-O's new show named Dr. Steve-O, so the SummerSlam match was going to be a way of promoting this new television program. The showdown got cancelled however, and as mentioned earlier, Umaga faced Carlito and Mr. Kennedy instead. There's been two reports as to why the match didn't happen. Some say Johnny Knoxville pulled out after the whole Chris Benoit incident, and once Knoxville pulled out, everyone else followed suit. But Johnny Knoxville said himself that the WWE and Jackass guys got their wires crossed when it came to scheduling and expected commitment. Gonna be honest, I think what Knoxville said was actually the true answer, and that's because Knoxville would end up appearing in WWE just a few months after SummerSlam. Whatever the case, the match never came to be, but I still find it interesting that TV promos and posters were already made up to advertise the match. The relationship between WWE and Jackass doesn't end here though. No, it would actually continue on both in and out of the ring. In 2015, Dickhouse Productions, the production company owned by Jeff Tremaine, Johnny Knoxville and Spike Jonze, would create an original TV show for the WWE network named Swerved. Swerved was very much a Jackass meets WWE type of TV show where wrestling superstars would play pranks on each other while the more elaborate jokes were set up by Jeff Tremaine himself. Honestly, I thought Swerved was alright. It's far away from Jackass in terms of mature content, and a lot of it's more lighthearted and fun in comparison to the antics displayed by Steve-O and company. But there's still a few moments in the series that'll give you a laugh, and with the network closing down and the rights to archived content being up in the air right now, it's very possible that Swerved could end up disappearing like many of the original shows recorded for the original WWE network platform. Some highlights of the series for me included AJ Styles and Ryback messing around with a kid, getting him to make unfavourable signs while the poor kid has to deal with both wrestlers giving him a hard time. There was one episode where security wouldn't let Seth Rollins into the building and he got super annoyed about it. And this right here, Xavier Woods blasting Kofi Kingston with what can only be the contents of Shawn Michaels' fanny pack. I must have watched this clip about 10 times, it's so good. Again, it's all lighthearted, it's all ridiculous, and it's definitely content that would make the most pure wrestling fans turn their noses up in sheer disgust. I wouldn't say you need to go out of your way to watch it or anything, but for something to put on in the background, it really isn't all that bad. Die-hard, super serious grapple connoisseurs will tell you otherwise though. The WWE clearly had a good relationship with Tremaine, and this relationship was put to good use during the promotion for Jackass Forever, the fourth and most recent Jackass movie at the time this video was put together. It just so happened that WrestleMania 38 was right around the corner when Jackass Forever was getting released, and so Knoxville and company would try to leave a mark at the showcase of the Immortals. Johnny Knoxville appeared at WWE Day 1 in 2022 to announce that he was going to take part in the Royal Rumble match. Sami Zayn wasn't happy with this at all. The Great Liberator felt that Knoxville wasn't worthy of entering the Rumble match, seeing as he was nothing more than a mere stuntman. From here, a feud began between the two that would take us right up to WrestleMania, and what was interesting about this little rivalry is the fact that it didn't all take place on WWE TV. Sami Zayn appeared at a Jackass Forever red carpet event to cause a scene, and some of the rather ill-informed news sites around the world thought it was all real. Anyway, at the Royal Rumble, Zayn eliminated Johnny, and Sami would go on to win the IC title. He refused to give Knoxville a title shot, and so Johnny decided to cost Sami the championship on the March 4th episode of SmackDown. And so, an enraged Sami Zayn wanted to fight Johnny at WrestleMania. The two would meet on night 2 of Mania 38, and I've never seen fans so split on a Mania match since Bret vs Shawn in Anaheim. This is easily one of the most polarizing matches in Mania history, with some fans absolutely adoring the encounter while calling it a wrestling match that practically anyone could enjoy, and others thought it was the worst thing to ever happen at WrestleMania, saying it's nothing more than one big joke and a complete waste of Sami Zayn's talents. Going to be honest guys, I thought it was good, and I actually find it pretty funny that folks went into this match expecting something remotely serious. To Johnny Knoxville's credit, the guy took quite a few bumps and he sold them pretty well too. He didn't look like a pro wrestler at all in there, and that's because he's not a pro wrestler. He was there to have fun, and I thought that came across quite well during the matchup. Again, I'm surprised that people thought otherwise. Other members of the Jackass crew got involved in the match, and the crowd went crazy when Wee Man body slammed Sami. And after more bumps, a few table spots, and more set pieces that were specifically set up to make fans laugh, the match ended when a giant mousetrap was utilised to capture Sami. I do understand that Sami Zayn's a really gifted performer and everyone wants to see good talent in big meaningful matches, but I still think this match delivered in terms of sheer entertainment value, and there were also so many things that could have gone wrong in this one, but they didn't. I feel that's a testament to both performers, who, by the way, ended up getting one of the best reactions from fans in attendance. Sami Zayn was very happy with how it turned out, saying, "I think it's an artistic triumph, if I may toot my own horn for a second. I hate to even box it into the category of a comedy match. If you go back and watch it and you're a wrestling purist, concerned about the sanctity of the industry and whatever, there's a lot that's done in that match that's actually kind of designed to protect the business, for lack of a better term. I take a great deal of pride in that match, and when I think of my favourite matches, it definitely jumps in the top 5 or top 10 off the top of my head. So much of that whole program was so unique and so memorable. I hope the fans remember it, but I'll definitely remember it for the rest of my career." Of all the things we've discussed in this video, I definitely think the stuff with Pontius and Steve-O was the most interesting. You kind of feel bad for them in a way, but at the same time, you also think they really should have known better. Even though both guys got roughed up a little, it didn't stop them from wanting to do business with WWE again, and it's a shame that things couldn't progress forward. I personally think the whole Jackass team versus Umaga would have been more interesting than the triple threat IC title match we ended up getting at SummerSlam 2007. Time has not been kind to the Jackass guys though. Personal demons rearing their ugly heads, mountain injuries making the guys think twice about doing certain things, and just old age in general causing the guys to reel it in a bit. Jackass was definitely a product of its time, but I do really think that form of entertainment mixes in quite well with pro wrestling, especially when you consider that the Jackass crew have their own little gimmicks and characteristics just like the wrestlers we see on TV. So while many continue to scoff at the idea of celebrities in pro wrestling and guys stepping into the ring who have no right to do so, I'll always say the Jackass crossovers in WWE were fine. It was fine, but admittedly it could have been better. Taking your pro wrestling hat off for 10 minutes and just enjoying something for what it is can go a long way sometimes. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and please take care.